I'm Jim Monaghan on the Jersey Magazine here at 105.5 WDHA. My guest this morning is the founder of the Baseball Health Network. It's Steve Hayward. Steve, good morning.
Hi, Jim. How are you?
Excellent. This Wednesday, October 19th, 8 p.m., the Baseball Health Network is presenting a free webinar, How to Plan Your Baseball Offseason to Perform Your Best and Stay Healthy Next Year. And it looks like a great lineup. It's you, it's Eric Dagati, who does some other stuff with the Baseball Health Network, and Yankees head team physician, I should say, Dr. Christopher Ahmad. So, Steve, what area will you be delving into on the webinar this Wednesday?
My main focus is going to be on throwing and arm conditioning. And, I for the past 20 years, I've known Dr. Ahmad, and we've seen this epidemic of arm injuries creeping 15 years ago. And it's gotten to this point, it's gotten out of control. And it's because, I got to be honest with you, one of the main reasons I think is because kids don't throw the ball properly. They don't throw the ball enough. They don't throw the ball with enough intent. They don't really condition their arm for the workload that they put on it during the season.
One of the things that I've noticed is, and this seminar is based on getting kids ready for their season, is incoming freshmen really have no idea what it is that they're in for. They may throw the ball a little bit a few weeks before that first Friday in March when practices start. But I've seen this year after year, freshmen whose arms are just dragging because they're throwing 5 and 6 days a week, and they're just not ready for it, Steve. You've seen that too, I'm sure.
Yeah, the overuse, the amount of games that young kids play is insane. I have 3 boys playing travel baseball all summer, and a couple of them put on some good teams. One of my son's teams won Cooperstown their week. So they play 5 games every weekend because you're going to the finals, and the amount of throws per day is insane. It's probably twice as much as a major league player would make in a day, and they're doing it in young kid bodies.
But the kids coming in for freshman year, they're still not ready for that because they probably took a lot of time off in the winter and really didn't prep properly to get ready for their first year of high school.
Sure, and a lot of kids that play freshman baseball, they don't necessarily play a consistent club season during the spring and fall and summer. So those kids really, sometimes kids going to school think it's kind of like their town league, and they're showing up, and there's kids that have been working out for 3 months, 2 or 3 days a week, and they're just going to get exposed because they're not ready.
How did the Baseball Health Network come about, Steve?
In my head, when I was a senior in high school, I played football and baseball at St. Joe's, and I separated my right shoulder playing football. And I had something that was called bursitis, which what I know now is just inflammation of fluid in the sac. And I basically missed a month and a half of my high school season after being one of the top pitchers in the state of New Jersey my junior year and having over 20 Division I scholarship offers. That injury kept me out for a month and a half. There was no throwing. There was a little bit of physical therapy. There wasn't a whole lot of knowledge about it. And as I thought back, if someone would have helped me then, and I knew what I know now, as we always say, I would have been in a much better situation going into my senior of high school. So something that wasn't that serious of an injury, something that could have been treated at a much more expedited way than it was, I didn't know about it. And now I do. So I don't like seeing kids miss their seasons and miss practices and have to deal with pain. And a lot of these injuries don't have to happen if they would just follow some common sense principles.
We're talking with Steve Hayward this morning. He's the founder of the Baseball Health Network. Wednesday, October 19th at 8 o'clock, the BHN, as we call it, presenting a free webinar that you can register for. We'll give you details on that in just a few minutes. You mentioned pitching at St. Joe's up in Montvale. You had a scholarship to Seton Hall University. What was the difference in pitching at the high school level? And you pitched at a high level. What was the difference for you from there going to college, where it's another step up?
Well, in high school, I felt like, I guess physically, I was probably a little more better than average. So it was a lot easier for me in high school. I threw the ball, close to 90 miles an hour in high school. I was a little bit wild, which I will say absolutely helped me. It's called effective wildness. But when I got to college, I didn't know how serious baseball was. I was kind of a late bloomer a little bit as well. I didn't shave until my sophomore year of college. When I got to Seton Hall, these guys had beards and forearm hair, and I was like, oh my God, like these guys were like men. I was like a little boy, and really it was the mentality and the attention to detail that during the workouts that I really never experienced before.
And then From Seton Hall, you go to a professional career in the Boston Red Sox organization. What was that jump like for you?
Well, in college, everything is structured for you. Everything is kind of set up, organized, and you have to be there, and it's a lot easier. In pro ball, you're kind of on your own, to be honest with you. My first season with the Red Sox, we didn't even have a pitching coach in the Florida State League. So you're kind of left to your own devices. And if you're mature enough and you have a plan and you have a program for yourself, it was a lot easier. For someone like me who wasn't as mature, who was really kind of restricted in the college environment because our college coach Shepard was, you didn't want to mess around with Coach Shepard, so you kind of did the right thing. Now you're on your own playing pro ball, living in Florida, and I just wasn't mature enough to handle the situation, which is a huge reason why my career ended.
You were talking before, if I knew then what I know now, you were a multi-sport athlete as a kid and in high school. You mentioned your sons, multi-sports athletes. Knowing what you know now, what are you doing with them?
Well, they play multiple sports, and I believe this, and I will always believe this. After your sophomore year of high school, if you see that there's a path that might be able to help your parents financially, help you get into a college that you may not have gotten into academically, but the sports will help you, then maybe you should probably start to focus on that one sport. But there's no doubt that playing multiple sports, even sports that you're not superior at, that's what I found. I didn't like basketball as a kid as much because I wasn't able to dominate as much as I did in other sports. But I liked it because I wasn't the guy. I had to learn. I had to bring a different side of myself to basketball when I played it because I wasn't that good at it. So it teaches you a lot when you play multiple sports about, teamwork and all the other stuff. But there's different mindsets, there's different thought processes in different sports that can only just make you a well more rounded athlete.
So this Wednesday at the webinar, Steve Hayward, who is the founder of the Baseball Health Network, Eric Dagati, who's the performance director for the Baseball Health Network, and Yankees team physician, Dr. Christopher Ahmad, will be there. Dr. Ahmad was not able to join us for an interview this weekend because with the Yankees being in the playoffs, he's got a lot on his plate. But I know he'll be covering the impact of seasonal timing on injury treatment, the impact of career timing on injury treatment, why injuries occur in the offseason, off-season recovery of injuries, and injury implications of weighted balls and velocity enhancement programs. And of course, with his role as the head team physician with the Yankees, he pretty much sees just about every spectrum of the every injury on the spectrum that you can imagine.
I mean, he's one of the top dogs in the world when it comes to this stuff. So, his perspective is amazing. And we've been friends for over 20 years. And he's allowed me before COVID to go into the operating room and watch him operate. And I picked his brain about things, and I really want to become the best at what I do using his knowledge and his team's knowledge. I've learned so much about the arm and how to take care of it, and I've been pretty successful. I mean, I've rehabbed almost probably 75 guys from Tommy John surgery alone. 200 kids with growth plate injuries, and once again, a lot of this stuff doesn't have to happen.
So this is a really good opportunity for parents and players and maybe some coaches as well. It's Wednesday, October 19th, 8 p.m. It is a free online webinar with the Baseball Health Network. How to plan your baseball offseason to perform your best and stay healthy next year. If you want details and information, the best place to go right now is facebook.com/baseball health network. There's details on what exactly will be covered in the webinar and a link to register as well. Steve, thanks for your time and best of luck this week with the webinar.
Thank you, Jim. Have a good day.